The perilous Cape Horn. A seafarer's dread. Picture a ship struggling against relentless storms. It's tossed around like a toy in a tempest. Icy winds rip through the sails. Enormous waves threaten to engulf the vessel. This was the harsh reality for sailors braving Cape Horn. The southernmost point of South America was a sailor's dread. The route around Cape Horn was infamous. Dangerous currents and erratic winds made it a hazardous journey. Ships could be held up for weeks, even months. Many were lost to the merciless sea. The human toll was incalculable. Countless lives were taken by this dangerous passage. The need for a safer, quicker route was evident. Merchants longed for a way to cut through the Americas. Such a passage would drastically reduce travel times and risks. Thus, the vision of a canal across the Panama Isthmus emerged. A dream takes shape: the Panama Canal vision. The concept of a canal through Panama has long been envisioned. For centuries, explorers and visionaries have dreamed of this achievement. They recognized the strategic importance of such a waterway. It promised to transform global trade and connect the world in unprecedented ways. Initial surveys of the region faced significant challenges. The dense jungle, harsh terrain, and tropical diseases were formidable obstacles. Yet, the vision endured, driven by the promise of immense rewards. The potential advantages of a canal were too significant to overlook. It would drastically reduce shipping routes between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Goods and people could move faster and more efficiently. The Panama Canal had the potential to revolutionize the global economy. The French attempt triumph and tragedy in the tropics. The saga of the Panama Canal is one of grand ambition, relentless human effort, and profound loss. The French were the pioneers in the colossal task of building the Panama Canal. Their goal was to link the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, transforming global trade routes. Under the leadership of Ferdinand de Lesseps, the mastermind behind the Suez Canal, they launched this ambitious project in 1881. Spirits were high. De Lesseps was celebrated in France, and his triumph with the Suez Canal had elevated him to legendary status. The French were confident they could replicate their success in Egypt. The Suez Canal had been a marvel of engineering and human determination, and they were resolute in achieving the same in Panama. However, they misjudged the challenges of the Panamanian landscape. The dense jungle was unlike anything they had faced before, filled with unforeseen dangers and obstacles. The thick jungle, relentless rain, and rugged terrain were formidable adversaries. The weather was erratic, with heavy downpours turning the ground into a swamp, making construction nearly impossible at times. But an even greater menace emerged: disease. The tropical climate was a breeding ground for deadly illnesses. Yellow fever and malaria devastated the workforce. The mosquitoes carrying these diseases were relentless, and the medical knowledge of the era was inadequate to combat them effectively. Thousands lost their lives, their dreams buried in the Panamanian soil. The death toll was staggering, with entire camps wiped out by illness. Despite the adversities, the French persisted for nearly a decade. Their resolve was unyielding, and they continued to push forward, driven by the vision of completing the canal. They excavated millions of cubic yards of earth and made significant headway. The scale of their efforts was monumental, with massive amounts of earth being moved daily. But the rising death toll and financial difficulties took their toll. The project's cost was astronomical, and the financial strain began to show. By 1889, the French effort was bankrupt and abandoned. The dream that had once seemed so close was now out of reach, and the project was left in ruins. The dream of a Panama Canal seemed doomed. The abandoned equipment and unfinished canal stood as a testament to the monumental effort and the tragic failure of the French endeavor. Section 4. The American Ascendancy, Roosevelt's Determination and Gorgas's Sanitation Victory. Under President Theodore Roosevelt's leadership, the United States seized the opportunity left by the French failure. The French had tried to build the canal, but were defeated by engineering difficulties and widespread disease. Roosevelt, with his characteristic energy and foresight, saw the canal's vast potential for global trade and military strategy. A firm believer in American strength and the necessity of a two-ocean navy, Roosevelt championed the Panama Canal. He knew that controlling a route between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans would not only strengthen American naval power, but also boost the nation's economic influence. His resolve was steadfast, and he pressed on despite many challenges. The Americans learned from the French missteps. They understood that success required not just engineering skill, but also addressing the health issues that had plagued the French. Tropical diseases, especially yellow fever and malaria, had devastated the French workforce, leading to their eventual retreat. Recognizing the critical role of sanitation, the Americans adopted a comprehensive public health approach. Without a healthy workforce, the canal could never be completed. This led to revolutionary sanitation measures for the time. Dr. William Gorgas, a U.S. Army physician, was appointed to lead the sanitation efforts. Having successfully controlled yellow fever in Havana, Cuba, Gorgas was the perfect choice to address the health crisis in Panama. Gorgas, a pioneer in tropical medicine, launched an extensive campaign to eliminate mosquitoes, the carriers of yellow fever and malaria. His methods included widespread fumigation, mosquito nets, and draining stagnant water where mosquitoes bred. These groundbreaking measures required meticulous planning and execution. Under Gorgas's leadership, Panama City and the Canal Zone saw a remarkable transformation. The once disease-ridden areas were systematically cleaned and sanitized. Streets were paved, drainage systems installed, and public health education campaigns informed the local population about hygiene and sanitation. Mosquito breeding grounds were drained, buildings fumigated, and a comprehensive public health system was established. The results were dramatic. The incidence of yellow fever and malaria dropped significantly, creating a safer and more productive environment for the canal workers. The death rate from disease plummeted, and the workforce was protected. This monumental achievement not only ensured the successful completion of the Panama Canal, but also set new standards for public health initiatives in tropical regions. Roosevelt's determination and Gorgas's sanitation victory were pivotal in turning the vision of the Panama Canal into reality, demonstrating the power of leadership and innovation. Section 5. Engineering Genius Locks, Lakes, and the Culebra Cut. This chapter explores the extraordinary engineering achievements that brought the Panama Canal to life, highlighting the complex locks, the vast lakes, and the challenging Culebra Cut. With disease under control, American engineers could turn their attention to the colossal task of building the canal. The elimination of yellow fever and malaria was a pivotal moment, enabling the workforce to operate in a safer environment and focus on the engineering hurdles ahead. John Stevens, a visionary engineer and railroad builder, was appointed chief engineer. His leadership marked a new phase in the canal's construction, bringing innovative ideas and extensive experience in large-scale projects. Stevens applied his organizational skills and inventive thinking to the project. He restructured the workforce, introduced new technologies, and prioritized efficient logistics, which were essential for the project's success. One of the most formidable engineering challenges was the Culebra Cut, a 9-mile stretch through the Continental Divide. This section required the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth and rock, making it one of the most daunting tasks of the entire project. Massive steam shovels and dredges were used to excavate millions of cubic yards of earth and rock. These powerful machines, along with a dedicated workforce, worked relentlessly to carve through the rugged terrain, transforming the landscape in the process. The canal's design featured a system of locks to raise and lower ships across the isthmus. These locks were engineering marvels, enabling ships to navigate the varying elevations of the canal route with ease. Gatun Lake, an artificial lake created by damming the Chagres River, became a crucial part of the canal, providing a navigable waterway for much of the route. The creation of this lake was a monumental achievement, reshaping the region's geography and facilitating the passage of ships. The lock system and Gatun Lake were testaments to human ingenuity and engineering prowess. Together, they represented the culmination of years of planning, innovation, and hard work, showcasing the incredible capabilities of early 20th century engineering. Section 6. A new era of trade. Connecting oceans and transforming commerce. After years of relentless effort and engineering brilliance, the Panama Canal was inaugurated on August 15, 1914. The world stood in awe of this monumental accomplishment, a true symbol of human determination and creativity. Its impact was swift and far-reaching. The Panama Canal transformed global trade and transportation. Vessels could now traverse between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans in a fraction of the time previously required to sail around Cape Horn. Shipping costs dropped dramatically, unlocking new markets and linking distant parts of the globe. The canal spurred the expansion of international commerce and promoted economic growth worldwide. It also bolstered the strategic importance of the United States, solidifying its role as a global power with interests in both the Atlantic and Pacific.